Hi, I'm Daniel Lamb, and I just wanted to tell you guys about um, the fact that I'm not perfect. Contrary to popular belief, I am not actually perfect. I have failed at things. Well, failed, as my um, speech here is going to show you. I want to start out by saying, or telling you my quote, which is a quote that Albert Einstein is credited with, for saying, "One does not fail until they stop trying." Um, which, honestly, I believe. Um, I have not stopped trying at at two big things in my life. Two big things, which are really one big thing because they are both have to do with me getting my pilot's license. Um, just so you know, this is going to be the kind of the theme of all of my speeches for this semester is going to be with regards to aviation and my passion for aviation because it's truly something that I'm passionate about. Um, so yeah, I failed my first attempt at my written exam for my private pilot's license. I felt really, really good about it. My instructor felt really, really good about it. I had taken numerous practice tests, scoring, passing them with flying colors. And it came to the day of actually taking the test. Um, the day that I failed and my heart stopped because this thing that I had been working toward for months, um, I did not succeed in on the first try. But as Albert Einstein has said, one does not fail until they stop trying. And I did not stop trying. So I failed it with a 68%. A 70% is the requirement to pass. Um, and when I, you know, took my paper to get it graded, they went through and they come to the end and they say, "You missed it by one question." And I will forever hear that in my head because um, I missed it by one question, and to come up that short, it's one thing that I've learned through years of actually competitive swimming, which is I would much, much rather lose by 5 seconds than lose by 5/10 of a second because I feel like there's just, I could have just put in a little tiny bit more effort and I would have passed. I would have succeeded on the first try. Um, so I went after that first unsuccessful attempt at my written exam, and I studied and I studied and I studied some more. I spent a lot of time at the flight school with my instructor, going over questions that I had failed, and really trying to nail down why I was not proficient. Um, Eventually, we clearly did nail it down, and I wound up retaking the test and passing it with an 85%, which is scoring um, 8 questions above the requirement. Um, uh, which on so it's a 60 question test, and I missed 7. So I felt really good with that. I Then fast forward to a couple of months later when I actually wind up taking my private pilot check ride, which is the driver's the driver's test, you could say, for pilots, which is where you actually go in, you do an oral exam with an examiner, and then you do a practical exam. I passed the oral exam, missing just a couple of small, minute details that he said were, things just to brush back up on, but nothing catastrophic on the oral exam. But then I wound up, it's funny. So my first time going, I actually discontinued the check ride because my attitude indicator failed in the plane, which is basically just, it's an artificial horizon, which shows what my plane is doing in comparison with the horizon. It's a little instrument. If I ever get into clouds or whatever, it shows me what my plane's orientation is. My attitude indicator failed, and therefore I decided to discontinue the check ride because I didn't deem it safe for me to continue. So we went back and landed, and then I went back to him again, and we were able to get up in the air, and I failed on my stall recovery procedures. So we took off, departed to down to the southeast. I was doing a cross country from Janesville to DuPage, and about halfway through the flight, he killed my engine so that I could perform a simulated engine failure to show him that, if I actually lost my engine, I would be able to land the plane safely. I did that. Okay. So there, his his radar was already up, and then everything else was going well, and then we got to the stalls, which are one of the required maneuvers for a private pilot to be proficient in order for them to be able to, get their private pilot's license. So we went in and did the stall procedures, and I failed miserably. I did really, really, really terribly with them. I was not at all, anywhere close to the standards of the ACS, which is the Airman Certification Standard. Yeah, the that was an even worse day when I failed that. Because I actually had my dad drive up to Janesville Airport in Wisconsin, and that was gonna be his first flight with me, was flying back to Poplar Grove from Janesville, and that was a walk of shame getting out of that plane and having to text my dad and be like, "Go back home." Yeah, felt terrible. We then go through, and he hands me a little letter that says, "You failed," and then I had to fly back to Poplar Grove, which it was definitely rough that day, but I did not stop trying. I went and met with my instructor some more. We went over stall recovery procedure, and really dove into the standards, and made it to where I was not anywhere near getting out of standard. I was perfect every single time, and it was really a confidence booster once we finally got up, and I realized, wow, I really wasn't anywhere close to the standards, because I felt like I was really close, but then it's weird. It doesn't make sense why it would be a confidence booster, but it was. Now, I go in and I end up rescheduling my check ride, and I passed, obviously. I've told you guys many times about how much I love flying and love aviation, and clearly I have my private pilot's license, and I passed. And that was the most exciting day of my life, and I will never forget it. We went up, it took 10 minutes. From the moment we took off to when we landed, 10 minutes is all it took for me to get re-evaluated and then certified as a private pilot in the United States. So the big thing that I want to really kind of teach with this is that quote by Albert Einstein, which says, "One does not fail unless they stop trying," and I feel like this really displays that so long as you keep your mindset, you're gonna have setbacks all the way along your life. Everything that you want to go for, every single thing, you will have setbacks, and the true test of character is if you keep going through after those setbacks, and keep your head down, put your nose to the grindstone, and keep on moving, because you will get there. It'll just take time. And I just think that, that's a huge, huge part of, you have to commit yourself. And I finally committed myself to something. Now, there have been things that I have failed at because I stopped trying. I wanted to maintain a 4.0 GPA throughout high school. I failed after about the 8th week of freshman year because I stopped trying. I didn't, I felt like that's not something that I wanted anymore. But I failed at it. Um, so yeah, I would just like to close by telling you guys, just keep your head down, keep moving, because the C's do get easier, and I am truly better because of my failures. I've learned a ton because of my failures. And so I would just suggest to you guys, just keep your head down and keep moving, because it does get better. Thank you.